Hi everyone, Ellen here on day 20 of the 30-day video challenge. Bubba the cat has decided that she's going to settle down for the night here. It's quite late, so I'm kind of kind of a bit captive just for the moment. But anyway, I thought I would do this video now because I'm not going to be around much tomorrow. And I didn't want to miss. So today's topic is what's your best job before and why? Well, I kind of had to really think about that one a bit because I've actually really loved all of the jobs that I've had, I think. Well, I can't actually remember one that I didn't like, and they're all the kind of the best job at the time. But there are a couple that sort of stand out. My first job was in the chairman's office of a very nice department store in Sydney, in Australia, and it was a whole other world for me because I'd never worked anywhere like that before. I was only 17, and it was a very imposing bunch of people, like the chairman of David Jones department store, and they had this whole little world of, I don't know, good manners and all the I don't know, um, I wasn't completely unfamiliar with that kind of thing, but I had never come across anyone who worked in a place like that. There were like dress rules, and you couldn't wear sleeveless dresses, you couldn't wear pants, you couldn't, well, you had to wear stockings even in the summertime. But all that aside, it was fantastic because I learnt so many things from such a different bunch of people, and the chairman, Mr. Charles, was actually a very funny man, even though he may not have appeared that way on the surface. But his office overlooked Hyde Park. It was on the 7th mezzanine level of the Elizabeth Street store in Sydney, and it overlooked Hyde Park, which is just glorious anyway. But his office used to get all of the afternoon sun, so if I was in there taking dictation, yes, we're back in the days of manual typewriters and shorthand. Um, he had this huge big leather wing chair in front of his desk, which is where I used to sit. And yeah, it was just so beautiful sitting there. You'd almost go to sleep sometimes. But it was great practice because I was actually learning shorthand at the time. And I used to really, in theory, work for Mr. Charles's secretary, so I was the secretary's secretary, but I was really just a glorified office runner. I mean, I answered the phones, I delivered stuff in the days before couriers, I had to hand deliver things. I got to go to some pretty amazing functions because I was the runner, like, the gopher. But it was lots of fun, and I met all kinds of fashion designers and all kinds of things like that. I actually worked at David Jones for a long time, and yeah, so that was one of a couple of the best jobs. And then I spent a long time working in advertising, and I loved all of those. In the 80s, I used to, well, I still do, call it the decade of the long lunch. A lot of business got done over lunch. But, it was a lot of fun. We worked really hard, but we played equally hard, and it was great. But then I suppose in recent years, the best job that I had was working at a regional university here. I was working on tech projects that I really loved. I actually talked my way into the first of those projects because it was in the very early days of the internet, and I had no idea what on earth anything was. But I had the most amazing bunch of guys in my team, and they were very kind, and they taught me a lot. And it was also the best job because it was the best money, strangely, that I ever earned, even though I'd had so many other jobs before. So, yeah, that was my best few jobs. But another one that I'll finish up with that I actually really loved doing was being a canteen lady at the primary school when the kids were at school, and it was funny. It really was funny. Making lunch for the kids and kind of teaching them about money a little bit, because when kids are in kindergarten, like when they first start school, they'd turn up with the contents of their money box or something, like, they'd have $5 in 2 cent pieces, kind of. It wasn't quite like that, but close. And yeah, I don't know, they'd give you this handful of change and ask what they could buy for that. They had no idea what they wanted to get. Very cute, very funny, and I did that once a month for 6 years, and I loved it. And it was just such a break from my regular day jobs. Yeah, and so that would have to count as one of the best jobs as well. So that's it for me today, and yeah, I'm going to try and extract Bubba from sitting on my lap so I can actually go off and go to bed. And I will see you all tomorrow. Bye.